look around your retro pile and somewhere among them you will have a computer joystick. Now, not all computer joysticks are built the same. So for example, I made this joystick tester moments ago, and if you haven't made one actually, I advise you make one. And you can see that this Atari 2600 joystick is okay. Right doesn't seem to work, and the fire button is a little bit jank. So that prompted me to think about making my own joystick. So this is where my story begins. First thing I did was 3D print a enclosure. This is called the V1 enclosure. It's not great. For example, it doesn't have any interlocking features. However, it had all the basics required in order to fit one of these, which is a Sanwa style arcade joystick. And of course, the necessary fire buttons. And these ones are micro switched ones. So you can see I spent a little bit of time in Autodesk Fusion so that I could wang that in like that. Oh, this would have to have the metal plate removed and then screwed into the back. And then I had my knob. So that was nice for initial version, but it didn't have all the features I wanted. So I started to work again on a V2 enclosure, and you can see I've got two of them here. One of them's a little bit more finished than the other, so I just wanted to show you the different stages. So when this comes out of the 3D printer, I'm just cracking open the shell, the crispy shell. It's somewhat like this, and you can see I've added additional strengthening features, all sorts of retainment edging here. It's actually really nice. It's a really nice joystick. It's held in place using the 3 contact points there, and you can see I haven't even cleaned these ones out yet. Of course, when you 3D print stuff, there's a bunch of extra material, and then you just need to go in there really and just clean those so that you're self-tapping screws. But I haven't done it on this yet because look at this. Listen to this click. Ready? That just snaps together ever so nicely. So even without screws, it's working really well. And I suspect this will be a good joystick. So today's challenge, of course, is to fit a lead. Now it's quite hard to find Atari style leads, especially, look, these ones which actually say Atari on it, which is pretty damn sweet. But you can buy these, and these are joystick extension cables. So they are, I'm going to just do it off camera. They look to be a couple of meters long, and the idea is, of course, you could keep this permanently plugged in, and this could be somewhere else. Perhaps if you've got an Atari ST and you're lamenting the positioning of the ports, you could use it for that. So what I'm going to do, though, is chop the end off. Oh, do I chop? Oh, this is a bit of a problem here because I feel that that's a good thing to keep, but I'm going to chop it off because that end is actually relatively easy to get. You can see I got one for here. And in fact, look at the quality of the pins. There's a difference, by the way, between something of good quality pins, see that there? And next to it, bad quality pins. They're literally just bits of wire with the ends chopped off, whereas these are actually proper spring contacts. Anyway, that's going in the bin. Nobody's using that again. So now we have the wires and the cable. And I've no idea what the colour scheme in is. And I don't have a crimp tool to make the appropriate crimp here. Let's get this apart. To crimp onto the arcade stick body. Let's just get those pins up there. But this is going to be a nice test run for that. We'll figure this out as we go along. And that's why we've got the tester. So we're going to plug this in here and actually just keep that ready. Anytime we make any adjustments with here, we'll figure out what the colours are. Now's a good point to tin them. Now there's 9 wires here, but we're not going to need all of them. But I'm just going to tin them all while we're at it. So when we do the second joystick, it's going to be a lot easier because we'll know what colours to use and where they should go. Check this out! No fire buttons yet, but I have managed to decode the colour scheme here enough to get those hooked up. So you can have a look here. It's done pretty crudely because I did it trial and error. But that's the colour so far. And the green, blue and black appear to be doing nothing. And we just need to hook up the brown to the fire buttons, which means, of course, we need that common grey and the brown. That will activate fire. Now here's your opportunity, of course, to make the second fire button up if you so wish. I think up is red in this case. Before I push these wires in to tidy them up, just to show you what I've done, I've made a common connection between this fire button and this one, and that goes all the way down here to that grey wire. And then you can see this little bit of heat shrink on that brown wire is another tiny piece of kynar that goes to the other contact of the fire buttons. And that way, of course, oops, when I press them, it works. Hopefully as expected. So the only thing left to do really is to push these down, and this is where you really need to add some strain relief depending on how you're going to do this. I think there's enough meat here potentially, yep, see, to push it down between those two, so that's nice there. You're not going to get it snagged there, but I probably ought to have done something better than use kynar, to be honest, but this is just a test right now. This is just a POC, a proof of a concept. I might need to make that opening a little bit bigger with some use of my various reaming tools, but have a look now. Look at that. That is some Daley Thompson action there. Let's get this ready for boxing up. Now you can use whatever tool you've got. I've got this quite nice deburring tool that was sent to me, and I find that quite useful for this kind of thing. But just be a bit careful with whatever you've got, basically. You'll find something. Maybe a little craft knife, hobby knife will do the trick. And the key is not to take off too much, but just the right amount, because you want it quite snug. And we're going to put a little cable tie on the wire just to stop it getting pulled through too much. In fact, that's looking a lot better now. I can see there, it is sitting a lot better. I'll have to do the same now on the other half. While we're at it, let's clean these holes out. Just a little flat blade's all you need. It's just a tiny bit of support material, and then tap that out. The final job is just to find the right self-tappers. I think that's what I used before. Let's put those in. So it's not too bad a process, right? Obviously you might need a 3D printer. Apart from that, the most tedious part of this was the design work to actually design the shell. It took me quite a while to do that. So if you're designing your shell, be prepared to put some effort into it. But of course you can do what you like once you have. You can add as many fire buttons as you like. You can put switches, you might want to build in an auto fire, you can make it USB, you can make it deeper, you can make it wider, you can make it curvier, you can make it fatter, you can make it flatter. There we go, it sounds like Dr. Seuss. Let's put these away, because that's it, it's done. We've finished our own joystick, and it only took, what, maybe 10 hours to print, and maybe, I don't know, several hours to design the shell, and but the rest was actually okay. It all went together quite swimmingly, and you can of course get your Daley Thompson action going on there. Now I do have a number of these components. I've got leads, I've got buttons, I've got sticks, and I've got 3D printers. So please let me know down below if you would be interested in buying this as a kit, so that you could just make your own, you know, just assemble it carefully. I don't know what colour the plastic will be, it depends what filament I've got at the time, probably black or white. And whoever leaves the funniest Daley Thompson track and field related waggling pun below can have this joystick. And I'll send it to you. As ever, thank you for watching. By the way, it's not lost on me that these reds are all slightly different colours, but I'm absolutely fine with that.